All right.
Just to hear do 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 do.
So it's Friday night. This is Loot Shooter Weekly.
Yes.
Normally we
Right.
stream on Thursday night, but we're streaming on Friday night this week. And the reason we're doing that is just simply because we were busy last night. But we're gonna actually detail a build for you tonight, which is the 1.21 Gigawatt Amara, and this is just a level 72 update. Although I will tell you that the level 72 update of this is really good.
Nice. Good. Looking forward to it.
I am gamertag Burt Reynolds. With me tonight is the one and only Golden Voice of Gaming, Negan Killjoy. Ladies and
Hey, what's
gentlemen.
up, Bert? You like my outfit? Look at this. I figured you might like the flames and stuff like that. The little hot rod look.
Little hot rod look there.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Are you running? What are you running? What build?
Oh, I'm still running Snow Goblin, but I'm running it hot.
You're running hot. You're running Snow Goblin. You're running it hot.
That's right. That's exactly right. So how are you doing tonight? How'd your week treat you? And it is the end of the week. We usually talk about Friday coming up, but Friday's here. How was your week?
It just went by very fast. I'm good. But the week went by very fast, which is not like a bad thing. But
Right.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, man. How about you?
Only when you have to get stuff done does the week going by fast suck, because you don't have time to get it all done.
Right. That's true.
I'm doing well. The week didn't go by fast. It went by, but it didn't go by fast. It went on a good pace. So I was productive. I got stuff done. I'm looking forward to the weekend. So we are in a good spot for Friday night.
Good. Cool. I'm glad to hear that, man. Well, we'll jump right into just talking for a second about what we're having to drink tonight, and then I want to get into this build because I want to show it off a little bit. I think it's a lot of fun.
You're excited about this one.
Your week to go first. I am excited about this one, but I think it's your week to go first on drinks, so I'll hold my excitement for another minute.
All right. I'll try to go fast. Although this one does have a story behind it, but or they have a little.
No, go for it. Go for it, man. Don't.
This one is from a brewery that's actually pretty much right down the street from me, called Epidemic Ales. It's one of our favorite breweries. They have all sorts of beers there that we like. And this one I'm trying tonight. I'm going off the rails. As you know, I don't usually go into IPAs or anything like that, but this is a pineapple upside down cake hazy pale ale is what this is. And they describe it as, we brewed a hazy pale ale that tastes like soft layers of vanilla cake with sticky sweet pineapple filling. Because why not have your upside down cake and drink it too? The beer drinks like a single serving sliced cake in a can, fresh out of the kitchen, just like Mom used to bake. So I'm going off my rails and way outside my comfort zone with a fruity, hazy beer. So that's
different, man. That's different.
Yeah. And the sound that we love so much. Here it is. There's the sound. And what are you drinking, my friend?
I am gonna do Lagunitas Hazy Wonder. Never had this one. It says, when a brilliant idea strikes, why do they say a light bulb goes off and not a question mark? The difference between a spark of genius and a flash in the pan really just comes down to how you think on a whim. But how can something so hazy be so bright? Life's uncertain, don't sip.
There you go. They're telling you to chug, man. They're telling you to chug it.
Man, this can has a lot of writing on it. And then it says, Hazy Wonder embodies our endless fascination with hop-forward brewing, expressed in a bright and unfiltered light. So, yeah.
There you go. Very cool.
We'll see what they have. We'll see what they got here. I'm usually a fan of Lagunitas, typically speaking. Doesn't really look very.
They have a brewery out in the Chicago area, don't they?
They do, and out in California and Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It actually doesn't look very hazy, so I mean, there's that. Like,
well, mine is very hazy looking.
I can see through mine, which tells me it's not all that hazy. But yeah, I mean, we'll give it a roll.
There you go.
All right, so let's get into this build, because this is here's why I'm excited about this build. So the last time we did this build, which actually this was the final build we did, I think. No, short circuit most. Second to last build we did before the update.
Right?
We were doing a lot of builds there right at the end, not realizing that we were going to get this level cap increase. So it was one of the last. It was a Phase Zerker build. It was actually based off of Winter Witch Amara, which we did the level 72 update to that last week, and we released it this week on YouTube. Originally it was like I took a Winter Witch Amara and put a Revolter on, and just a couple things in the skill tree and put some different weapons on, and that was the 1.21 Gigawatt Amara. The whole focus of it was shock damage, tons and tons of shock damage. Well, last week when we were detailing Winter Witch, I brought up the fact that Amara is one of the characters who really struggles with raw weapon damage. And that's why we ran everything last week with consecutive hits, because on Winter Witch, you got to get your raw damage somewhere, either from a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, or you got to get it from running consecutive hits on the gun, because she just generally doesn't have a lot of ways in her skill tree to get weapon damage. There's one exception to that, and it's a comm called the Driver. And it's the comm that was used in Moxie's Ricochet Witch build, which was one of my favorite builds of all time before they nerfed the amount of projectiles you could get from the recursion. They did so for a good reason, because it would basically crash your Xbox eventually. If they did.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about crashing Xboxes today. We'll go right past that.
No, we don't want to get started on that topic. I loved that build, and basically that build, the comm basically, and I'll read it to you because it's kind of cool. So the comm, in essence, says Amara's gun damage is increased while moving. The quicker she moves, the greater the gun damage bonus. So you basically speed around really fast. Zane should be pretty familiar with this. You speed around really fast, and that's what gives you your weapon damage.
That sounds like a Zane build. Are you sure you're running the right tune, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am running the right tune. So that's where we're going to get our gun damage from moving around quickly. The reason I don't run that on Winter Witch, and why I didn't originally run it on here, is because basically, well, one, I guess it doesn't exactly fit my playstyle. So there's that. Two, the Revolter turns out a lot of shock damage. And so I had theorized in my head, well, I don't need more shock damage, because typically speaking, what you do with this build is you're dotting yourself, you damage over time yourself with shock, or whatever your skill element is. If you turn it to fire, you'll dot yourself with fire. If you turn it to corrosive. If you turn it to cryo, then you'll dot yourself with cryo, which kind of has a negative effect because that'll slow you down. But it turns out, man, like there's apparently no amount of shock damage that's too much shock damage in this game. And since the build is 1.21 Gigawatt Amara, I figured, you know what? We're just going to go all out. We're going all out for all the shock damage. And I tested it out, and it turns out it's insanely strong with the driver on. It still doesn't fit my play style. It's a little bit mobile, and I have all the same problems you have with Zane with jumping off cliffs accidentally, but I don't have to run a Pearl, and I don't have to run consecutive hits. And so it allows me to really bring a ton of elemental damage to the table, which is pretty fun.
Sounds like I'm gonna fun build to watch.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna show you what I got going here, and there's I'm gonna talk about, there are a bunch of different options that you could run from a gear perspective. So purely gear, I'm running a 2x free radical with action skill and next 2 mags. We'll have a additional cryo. Cryo is the one element we're not going to have going without having it on the ASE. So inherently in the build, we will not have any cryo, but all the weapons are going to have ASE cryo on them. I'm running a plasma coil with ASE cryo. If you do go down, and this build can be a little squishy and a little chancy, then you're going to need this because this is your get out of fight for your life gun. Rapture Rebound. I'm running this really because it just reminds me of the recursion. And if you may remember, there's a skill in Amara's skill tree that anything that ricochets, it has a chance to increase the amount of projectiles after ricochet. While the rebound, as its name implies, rebounds and ricochets all over the place. And finally, I'm running a reflux. But, I'm going to talk in a minute about other alternative guns that you could run. I have a Revolter that has Vagabond, and Fleet on it. And basically what this means is 17% of I have an increase of 17% movement speed while my shields are full, 10% when they're depleted.
So what's the Vagabond? Is that what Vagabond means? Is a shield?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when the shield's when the shield's full, I have 17% movement speed. When it's empty, that's Fleet. Then I get 10%.
Okay. So you still keep a little bit, no matter what happens there. Okay.
No matter what happens. I have a Power Siphon Fish Slap, which basically heals my shields for 100% of shield damage dealt. Reminder, the Fish Slap does melee damage. It's kind of fun. It's just kind of fun. I just put it in there for fun. And it has ASE 50% bonus radiation. My artifact is going to be an Elemental Projector Victory Rush because I'm going to be dotting myself. So basically, every time I dot myself, which is all the time, basically, I get 129% damage boost. Elemental damage boost. So whatever I've dotted myself with, I'm going to get an extra 129% damage boost to that.
And then 100 just from the artifact, 129%. Just right there, all by itself.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Then I have obviously when I kill a badass, I trigger a Victory Rush, I get movement speed, and I get 18% damage. Then on the artifact, I have radiation damage, and the reason I have this is because I only get 50% radiation damage from my grenade. So on extra skill end, gain 50% bonus, meaning it adds new radiation damage with weapons for 10 seconds. This is going to add an additional 28% to that 50% when the 50% is active. Adds nothing when it's not active, but it's going to add 28 additional percent. So I get almost to 100% bonus radiation damage, 78 to be specific. I have movement speed of 14%, and then this is key. I have to have a matching resistance to whatever I'm going to dot myself with. So in this case, I'm going to dot myself with shock. So I have resistance to shock, but I have one here that has corrosive resistance if I wanted to run corrosive. I have one with cryo resistance if I want to run cryo. I don't have one for incendiary. But I can, when I dot myself, that's going to keep me from killing myself when I dot myself, in essence.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Some honorable mentions of guns that are great to run with this. Light shows. Beacons. Beacons are fantastic. Tizzies. Torrents. Torrents are excellent to run with this. Kybsworths, good. Chaosin's probably not strong enough to run with this. Like, you're not going to get enough out of it. I could be running the OPQ. I could be running Rowan's Call. From the shotgun angle, I could be running the Convergence, and sometimes do run the Convergence. I can run the Trebinator. That's also an excellent choice. I can run a Butcher, or I can run a Critical Thug. Or, of course, I can always run, the Hellwalker, because the Hellwalker is just good. I could also,
And naming all these guns the way you are and saying what's a good gun and stuff like that, what are you looking for out of the gun in this build? Because you said the Chaosin really wasn't a good gun for you.
Well, the Chaosin's a fantastic gun, and I absolutely love it. It's not like they don't like the Chaosin. But on this particular build, the Chaosin doesn't ricochet. It doesn't have a ton of projectiles coming out at once. It's not a Malawan gun. It's not heavily elemental. So it'd be good, but not, great.
Okay, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for projectiles or elemental guns or something like that is kind of what you're looking for in this particular build.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That would be accurate. And it's not like I don't. Again, it's not like I don't like the Chaosin. I totally love the Chaosin. I love using the Chaosin sometimes on Amara builds, but usually more on Moe's builds would be my vote. Well, you could also run. You can also run splash damage. I should call that out. You could run splash damage at any point if you wanted to on these. The flipper would also be an excellent choice. Just as far as that's a good solid choice to run. The chaos is all right for this build, not like unbelievable, but the chaos would be okay. I like the pew pew, but I mean I'd just be running it because I like it, if I'm honest. Also, honorable mention to the Monarch. The Monarch would also be a fantastic or excellent choice for. So those would be my votes on guns to run. And again, you can run splash damage or I'm running ASC cryo, but you could run splash damage if you wanted to because you're going to benefit from the splash damage, bonus splash damage, just like you do with the ASC. Now I probably have to go into the skill tree, so let me do that.
Not probably. You have to go to the skill tree. Not have to. You want to. You want to go in the skill tree. You want to show off your skill tree choices.
I do. So I put 5 into do harm. Like I always do, this gives me action skill damage based on consuming stacks of rush. I put 2 into violent tapestry. This is going to give me status effect chance. Which is good.
Where does rush come from? It says I see a couple different ones. It talks about rush. Where does it come from?
Yeah, basically it's going to come from here. So killing an enemy grants Mara a stack of rush. Activating your action skill consumes the rush. So it's like an on-kill thing.
Okay, kill skill. Okay.
I'm also going to get, I've got 2 points into alacrity, which gives me reload speed. Transcend, I get accuracy and critical hit damage. Restless is going to give me a very improved action skill cooldown rate because I'm going to want to be constantly activating the action skill so that I always get the benefit of the Revolter. Ascendant just enhances my chosen skill augments. From Rest. Now, this is an unusual one, but I put 3 points into From Rest this time. This is fire rate and charge time. And I did this because I'm running a lot of Malawan guns. So having a very fast charge time is like a great quality of life thing. I have 3 into Wrath. It's a points thing, but I could have put 3 into Laid Bare here instead of the From Rest. That would also work and be a good idea, but Malawan guns, man, I like that charge speed. I have 1 into Remnant for the Remnant Orb because the Remnant Orb is so good, and then I finally have 1 into Avatar so that I can activate my action skill multiple times. In the red tree, I'm going to go 5 into Anima. This is basically going to help my status effect deal more damage, and my action skill status effect deals additional damage. In this case, that's going to be Shock. Steady Hands, I just put 1 into this. It's weapon handling accuracy. It moves me down the tree. Infusion. This is going to allow me to convert my elemental or my damage into elemental damage. So this allows me to run guns that are not an elemental and still apply an element. In this case, it would be Shock. Tempest, I've got this maxed out. This is going to give me 30% more elemental damage and 20% more shock damage. 1 point into Wildfire. This allows me to spread the elemental love. Dread, I have 1 point into Dread. This gives me gun damage.
There was a question that came up earlier in Discord. They were talking about Wildfire. Wildfire applies to any of the elements, right? It's not just Incendiary. Like it implies Incendiary. You kind of think that when you hear Wildfire, but it applies to all elements.
All of them, yep.
Nice. Okay.
Dread's going to give me some weapon damage after I've grasped an enemy. Deep Well gives me magazine size on elemental weapons. I'm running all elemental weapons, so I basically universally am getting 20% mag size. Indiscriminate, this is the one that allows things to ricochet. This is why you like guns that have more projectiles, because there's more chance to ricochet. I have 1 into Sustainment. This is my lifesteal. This is what's keeping me alive. It's not a lot. but it's enough. And then I have 4 into conflux. This is going to allow me again to apply other elements, fire, shock, and corrosive randomly to enemies that I damage. I have to call this out. Sometimes when you dot yourself, you're going to randomly dot yourself with one of those because you're running conflux. It's not the end of the world, but you may see the edge of your screen start on fire or start to melt. It happens. Not often, but it happens. Forceful expression gives me bonus elemental damage. Great one. So this time I went way further down the green tree than in Winter Witch. In this case, I put 3 into personal space. This is gun damage when I get up close. Clarity, this is going to give me health regen. Arms deal is going to give me splash damage and reduce splash damage to me. It's 20% splash damage. I'm mostly using splashy weapons. This is as far down the green tree as we went on the Winter Witch. But we're going to go further in this one. This time around, we've got 2 into helping hands. This is going to give us damage reduction. Not the same as healing or lifesteal, but it keeps us from killing ourselves with those dots. And finally, I have 3 points into mindfulness. I think 3 into mindfulness. Whenever I take damage, I gain a stack of mindfulness. For every stack of mindfulness, I gain improved shield regeneration delay and movement speed. This makes me very fast, and the faster I am, that equates to raw damage. And finally, I have 5 points in the purple tree into heavy rain. This gives me projectile speed and splash damage. The reason I have this is so that if I choose to, I can apply cryo to myself instead of shock. But that will slow me down, and I'll lose out on some raw damage doing that.
Right. Now, there was, I meant to write down or take note of the skill, but there's a skill that says when you're up close, you're doing more damage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was
personal space.
Personal space. Right. So we talked about that last week, where even if you're not up close, you're still getting some additional damage by being within range and stuff like that. Are you planning on running like into people's faces and shooting them and running away, or how are you gonna play that?
Yeah, I am, because I'm gonna be running around like a madman. So I can, well, mad woman. I should also mention, because I did not, that I am running Ties That Bind, and I am running Soul Sap for a little bit of extra lifesteal, because I don't inherently have like really anything for ability to keep myself healed.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And Ties That Bind is your favorite one for Amara as well, isn't it?
I like Ties That Bind, yeah. I mean, I could run, I suppose, Phase Cast or something, but I like Ties That Bind. It's just, it's nice to pick everybody up. So we are going to take this one to our favorite testing grounds, because I've already done a lot of testing there, and I'll just show you what it looks like when it mobs, and we'll show you what it looks like against Captain Trant, because it is it's pretty ridiculous. And we should mention, since we get all our gear, and we are involved in Discord group, great Discord group, really fantastic Discord group that we coordinate all this with, and we do build giveaways of these builds at the Discord group. So really, these videos are just tutorials to get the build giveaway. Good way to see how we're playing it. Good way to see how we're putting it together. And that's Angelic and Beastly Creatures Discord. So that's our Discord family, and they treat us very well.
Yes, they do. In fact, that's a fact, my friend.
That is a fact. So a couple different guns. Again, like I'll go in here mobbing. I'm going to go in with the Rebound just because it's just fun. And it reminds me so much of Ricochet Witch, except for the screen's not going to like blow itself up, and my Xbox is hopefully not going to crash. But you can see when I apply this, now I've dotted myself, and boy, am I fast.
Yeah, you are. Look at you.
I'm so fast I can barely see.
You're hard to keep track of on this side, I'm telling you that much.
I
I said you're hard to keep track of over here. And I'm going to make you multitask here because I'll ask you a question. So you had mentioned that this is not your general style of play. So your general play style is kind of at range a little bit and kind of standing still and shooting things. Is that kind of what you normally run? And this, because you have to run all the time and constantly move, is the challenge for you?
I mean, you didn't have to call me lazy right to my face, dude. Like, for real.
I, I didn't say lazy. I said you like to hang back and shoot from range.
I mean, seriously, man. That's like, how uncool is that? Yeah, no, that is
my bad.
typically what I
Didn't
do.
realize you had your sensitive shirt on tonight. My bad.
I do. I am a little sensitive about that, man. Yeah, no, I typically do like to hang back a little bit, and yeah, I mean that's usually how it rolls. So I mean, a lot of times on Amara, I use a complex root, which of course sniper rifle. You know, like it's much more my style. But this is pretty fun, and you can just see. I mean, look at those rebounds, man. It's just there's projectiles everywhere. It's super fun. Like this whole crowd of people are just about to get.
Son of a gun. Watching you and I'm not watching getting shot. And I have noticed you're not phase grasping as much as you usually do either, so that's a little bit different as well.
Yeah, because I don't really have to. So now in here I'm gonna run. I really don't, legitimately don't have to because I get my damage buff and then I just kind of go. I'm not counting on the ties that bind. You may remember I'm not running laid bare, so I'm not like counting on the ties.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to be moving in order to get my damage. And boy, I mean, the faster I go, the more damage there is, that's for sure. Also, half the time I'm just self-dotting.
Right.
Like I'm not even picking people up, I'm just self-dotting. Oop, that's... One issue I have, ammo.
Oh,
This build
that's something new for you as well.
This build tears through ammo. Like, tears through it. But it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be. Seems you're working for you.
So now we're gonna go to plasma coil here, which, I mean, spoiler alert, the plasma coil is insane, so... You know, if you like doing hundreds of millions of damage with an SMG, plasma coil's your bae.
Mm-hmm. Good gun to have in your arsenal.
Alright. Tron's going bye-bye here. Now we're gonna use the free radical here for bossing. Yeah, we're just gonna go kill him because.
And what does a free radical bring to the table for bossing?
Well, the free radical has some extra little projectiles that like to fly around. For one, strong on the shock damage, and that is Trant, or was Trant.
And that was Trant. Trant, say bye-bye.
That was Trant. He's dead. So.
Yeah. There was a Trant. I remember seeing a Trant, but he's no more. No more Trant. And I actually noticed the ricochets you were talking about. I noticed some of the projectiles went from behind him and came back kind of a boomerang effect as well. So
yeah.
Nice.
So there's like these little. They almost look like little bees that come out of the free radical. They don't do a ton of damage, but normally there's like one, and then another, and then another. But with Amara, you get a lot of them because of that ricochet thing, and it helps. It's extra hits. You know, it's strong.
It totally makes sense.
So yeah, that's the build this time around. That is the new and improved.
So touch on again what changes you made to this build as opposed to other than obviously the extra points and stuff like that. Did you actually make any? Where did you make the major change at?
The driver comm is the major change. And obviously, because I'm running the driver comm, the rolls on the Revolter I have are way different. I mean, it's always an action skill start Revolter, but previously it was, 3x absorb because I was standing still, right? So everybody's shooting me. I need to absorb bullets. So this is all about speed. And in the original 1.1 Gigawatt Amara, I was running a Pearl with mag size and fire rate. And I was running a phase Zerker comm, with 5 into conflux. And now I'm running a driver and loving it, man. I'm loving it. I fly around the map like a crazy person.
Do.
Just destroying everything. Drop down on a boss. As long as I'm running around, they are dead. I mean, it's fun. Now, I will just say this, kind of in closing, talking about the build. You may remember the first time we did 1.1 Gigawatt Amara, 1.21 Gigawatt Amara, we went and tested it, I think later on in the evening, on one of the True Trials bosses that had a shock immunity phase.
Yes, I remember that. It kind of sucked a little bit.
So this would be even worse than that. If you run into a shock immune enemy, you're not doing anything. Because I'm, in essence, theoretically, so we know the Revolter gives us a 200 and I think it's 200, either 200 or 250% bonus shock damage. Bonus. We have a bunch of shock damage coming from our skill tree. We have shock on our weapons. And of course, then when I doubt myself, I'm adding another 129% shock damage in. But it's all shock damage. Other than the stuff coming from Conflux and my ASE Cryo and my ASE Rad, everything else is shock damage. And so shock immune bosses are going to cause a very big problem for you. So don't recommend running up against shock immune bosses with this build. If you know you're going to run into them, pick something else. Use a different build. Go use Winter Witch.
Exactly.
Don't use this. Right.
And Winter Witch is just a modification of the skill tree a little bit and a little tweak to it, but we have that on our YouTube channel as well. So take a look at that. Different work.
Different shield, different skill tree slightly, and of course a different comm, because that is a phase Zerker, and I don't think that one would benefit from a driver comm. But hey, I mean, again, a little throwback here, because this definitely feels a little bit like running Moxie's Ricochet Witch, which was, one of my favorites. That was always a build I did love. I did love that build. So this feels a little bit like it, and that's kind of fun. And of course, running that rebound. Or again, if you were running Rowan's Call, like those ricochet all over the place. I tried the projectile recursion, even at 2x with a max damage roll, and it's not enough.
No, just didn't do it for you, huh? Just didn't quite get there for you.
It can kill red bars, but it really struggles, anything other than like really basic red bars.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Needs a buff. If you're listening, Gearbox, bring back the recursion.
Let's let them focus on other things first before they start buffing more stuff.
Well, yeah, maybe first fix the fact that nobody can play the game on the Series, or Series X, because I miss playing this on my Series X. So yeah, I mean, they could fix the game issues first, but when they're done with that,
get in there and get the buff on the ricochet stuff.
Projectile recursion needs a buff. About a 150% damage buff would do it. So, and that's it, man. That's the build. That's the build right there. Nice and crisp and succinct and fast. Running around like a crazy person.
Yeah, you were. And like I said, I mean, Zane usually runs pretty fast, and I was having problems keeping up with you. But yeah, you were running crazy. Like a little spider with your arms out like that.
Yep, and I can just sit around and dot myself and make myself go even faster and faster. And look at that. See? It's crazy.
Nice. Very good. Do you want to
Anyway.
bring up the skill? You want to bring up skill tree real fast? We'll obviously put something on the video when we do it as well. But I'll shut off just one more time.
So blue tree. That's what we got. Red tree. That's what we got. And again, I do want to call on the blue tree. I could have put these blade bear points in if I wasn't trying to get. If I wasn't using Malwan guns, this is probably the place to put these.
So take him out of, what was the other one that would take it out of? Which one?
From rest. You just take them out of from rest and put them into laid bear.
Okay. Options. I like it.
Options. Yep. Options. This is the red tree. The green tree. And finally 5 in the purple tree.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
And it forces Burt outside his comfort zone of sitting there being, as he called it out, mind you. He said lazy. I didn't say lazy, but he said lazy.
You said lazy.
You gotta be running around a little more.
You said
I went a long way to lazy, did I?
You said lazy. I heard it. We have the recording.
All right, we'll go through it. I'll edit out that part. Nobody will know.
No, I'm kidding. You implied it though. You definitely you for sure implied it. There's no way you can say you didn't. Yeah, no, it's fun and it is I mean, if you like speeding around, if you like Zane, like I honestly think, potentially, yeah, they probably cap out the same speed. But we've got so much devoted to speed here, and all that speed just turns into raw damage. So it's pretty cool.
There you go. Very cool. All right. Well, awesome. Good build. Another good build. Another good update. I like it.
Cool. Sounds good, Negan. Thank you. And yeah, so again, if you're looking for a good Discord, we handle Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Angelic and Beastly Creatures Discord. And with that, Negan, I'll let you sign us off. Oh, our beers. What do you think? How's your pineapple upside down cake?
Pineapple upside down cake. Hazy pale ale.
I'm making a gross look with my face, and I probably shouldn't. My face says it all. But yeah, how is that?
You're not. Are you not a fan of upside down cake, pineapple cake, or just in general the idea of it in a beer form?
Yeah, I think the latter there is probably my thought on it.
It's actually it's pretty good for a pale ale. It's definitely hop forward. It definitely has the hops in it and stuff like that, but it's not overwhelming. It's not massive amounts of hops and pine needles and all that kind of stuff that you usually associate with pale ales. Certainly not a IPA hop level, which is kind of nice. It's actually pretty good. It does have a little sweetness, a little tartness, which I think is the pineapple or whatever they use for the pineapple. But no, it's actually pretty good, and I can imagine. Honestly, I think this is another one of those beers that on a hot day, I can see it tasting a little bit better on a hot day. So I'd give it probably, for the style that it is and the fact that I don't usually drink hazies and I like it enough, I'd probably put it around an 8.
Oh, really?
It's that good as far as that style of beer goes. So, and it's only 6% ABV, so it's not a light, not a light beer necessarily, but it's good. It's good. I like it. Enjoyable.
Awesome.
Good. And what about your Lagunitas Wanda?
Well, it's not very hazy, and it's also not all that hop forward. It's not all that strong. It's just a nice, light, easy drinking beer, man. I like it. I think it's kind of I'm going to use my new word. I think it's kind of maybe a session beer. It's not a very heavy hitter, but it's light. And again, this would also be great after like same sort of thing. Hot day, mowed the lawn. This would be good. I like it. Mine's, I'm going to put it, it's probably like a 6.5, 7, somewhere in there for me. I'd definitely buy it again.
Nice. Well, awesome. All right. Well, on that note, I think we are ready to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Specifically, like I said, Fiery Pup Plays. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. And catch us again next week. We'll be back usually on Thursdays, but we go back and forth Thursdays, Fridays, depends on our schedules and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
So to everybody else, and to you, Bert, and everybody else, see ya.